Hi, I'm Andrew Kennedy from Columbia University in New York City. Play tight end, and obviously I'd like to thank my parents, coaches, and teammates who have helped me along the way and helped me to achieve this prestigious award. It's always nice to be recognized. It's not something that comes easy, but through hard work and the help of coaches and teammates, I was able to improve as a player, and then ultimately receive this award, which I couldn't even tell you how honored I am to be recognized for such an achievement. I guess I'd say the main thing would be my speed. It definitely created some matchup problems with linebackers from a speed standpoint, and then a little bit with my size for safeties and cornerbacks, where I could definitely when moved around and put in different situations, I was able to exploit different parts of either my speed or my size to my advantage. Definitely, one particular touchdown would probably have been at Princeton, where I was running a skinny post, and there was a linebacker underneath and a safety over the top, and I was able to make a good grab, kind of between the two of them after receiving a great throw from my quarterback Sean, and it was a difficult catch, and I was lucky to come down with it and be able to kind of drag one or two guys into the end zone from the 5. I've been pretty lucky in terms from an injury standpoint. Never really had to overcome anything too serious in that respect. But I don't know. I wouldn't really call it an obstacle so much as a kind of a difficulty as a freshman and sophomore, kind of trying to adjust to the academic rigors of Ivy League institution and learning to balance that with trying to play a high level of football. And just it's difficult as a young guy, but you get to be an upperclassman. It kind of all settles into place, and you really learn how to balance the two. And once I learned how to balance the two, my performance on the football field really flourished. The academics are certainly a strenuous part of being a student at Columbia. We're not given any shortcuts where we take on a full academic load just as any normal student would. We have to complete all the same requirements and whatnot. And as an underclassman, that's something that you really have to learn to deal with, and it doesn't necessarily come overnight. But with the support of the coaches and the support they have in place from an administrative standpoint, you ultimately learn to balance the two. And once you do that, you're really able to perform at a high level in both in the classroom and on the field. As a modern European history major, I study a lot of somewhat current events, not necessarily up to date in terms of where we are right now, but learned a lot about the 20th century and the 19th century, and I guess one thing I've learned along the way is just how influential the French Revolution was in terms of kind of molding the way societies are deal with conflicts from class conflict and kind of overall top-down politics, which something that I never really knew before coming to Columbia, and it was definitely interesting learning about class struggle and class conflict. Definitely get a chance to see the city in my 4 years here. I always grew up around the city, so it wasn't necessarily anything new to me, but having been a student here and having been just had some free time, occasional free time, it's great to be able to go out and just kind of see the greatest city in the world on an everyday basis. For classes, sometimes we're required to go out and go to museums or go see a monument, things of that nature. It's been a real pleasure just getting to see sides of the city that I might not necessarily have seen even if I had lived here, but being here as a student, being really forced to go see certain things, which ultimately were quite enjoyable. Favorite spot on the Columbia campus, probably when it gets warm out. Being in the center of campus along what we call a college walk. Just getting in between classes and whatnot. Being able to sit down for a little bit, talk with friends, meet some new people. It's always a pleasure when the weather gets warm in the spring and early summer. Facts about Columbia football. I guess it's always interesting to learn about the history of Columbia football. As of late, we have a reputation as being a little down in our luck, but it really has a pretty impressive history as far as going back to the early days of college football. Past Heisman contenders, none that have won, but Heisman contenders. They played in some really huge games that these aren't necessarily things that you, even coming in as a freshman you would even hear about. It's really something that you learn once you get involved with the program and get to know it better. One advice for young tight ends is put as much weight as possible on, because tight ends generally have a problem as being too small rather than too big. And as a tight end, you're obviously required to do at least some blocking, some more than others. But it's tough to move defensive ends if you don't have a little weight behind you, assisting you in moving or at least covering up defensive ends. The lower body stuff is always key in terms of moving people. Just the explosive movements, whether it be just squats of different forms, different sorts of cleans, whether it be power or hang clean. Anything that really works on this explosion in the hips is always important as far as becoming a more explosive athlete. And I think you could say that for any position, but just tight ends, it's so key in both the pass game and the run game, and becoming an explosive athlete. I think the perception is probably, I would think that people respect the Ivy League, but they probably get a certain rap as being maybe somewhat soft. And I think that in playing out of league games and whatnot, a lot of times that myth is kind of dispelled. But that would probably the myth would probably be that they're more they pay more attention to academics than they do to football, and that's just certainly not true. Football is taken really seriously in the Ivy League. I mean, I've been talking to people that play in other leagues and whatnot. We put in the same amount of time in the off season. We put in the same amount of time in season, and just because it's such a Ivy League gets such a reputation for the academics. The athletics are certainly on par with that. Yeah, I mean, we were able to play the last couple games together of my junior year when he was a freshman. That definitely helped in terms of getting somewhat of getting on the same page, and then with the off season, and then obviously the season we were definitely on the same page a lot of times. It definitely kind of grew as the season went on, and he definitely looked to me, and I looked to him to pass me some great balls, and we definitely just got more comfortable with each other as we spent more time together. Hi, I'm Andrew Kennedy, 2010 recipient of the College Football Performance Award for the tight end position. I just want to thank everyone who follows the College Football Performance website, and go Lions.